and welcome back to Bake with Kids. I'm Libby, this is Ridge, and today we're making doughnut muffins. It's Ridge's pick this week. We were going through recipes and that was the one that just called to him. So doughnut muffins it is. These are really fantastic. They're a really nice, light, fluffy muffin and they're delicious to eat. We've tried out a couple. Did you like them? Yum, so good. So the first step is to preheat your oven, 425 for these, which is a lot higher than most muffins bake at. So make sure that it's at 425. And then we're gonna prepare some little cupcake pans. These are kind of like a cross between a cupcake and a muffin. One thing that we recommend in the recipe is to spray these with a little bit of spray oil. So I'm gonna let Ridge do that. So just these three right here, Ridge, that have not been sprayed, just a couple little squirts. And then once you get them sprayed and prepared, beautiful, we're gonna start making our recipe. That's perfect. Good job, Ridge. So this recipe is pretty simple. We're gonna start off by creaming together some butter and some sugar. So we have 4 tablespoons of butter here. We're gonna measure out 1/2 of a cup of white sugar. So Ridge, you remember how to do this? Remember, you fill it up overly full and then we're gonna level it off, okay? So you scoop and I'll level. Nice big huge scoop. Oh, nice job. So you're a little low on that back side, so we're gonna go backward and then forward. There we go. Okay, go ahead and add that to our bowl. So again, that is 1/2 a cup of white sugar. Then we're gonna move on to brown sugar and we're going to do 1/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar. So Ridge, what it means when we're gonna pack up our sugar is we're gonna take a scoopful here and we're gonna push it in. And then we're gonna take more and we're gonna push that in. So do you think you can help me out with that? Okay, so take some, sprinkle it on top, and then we're gonna push it in, kind of like we're making a beginning of a sand castle. Good job. Okay, once that's really well packed in, we're just gonna put that right in there. No, don't lick your fingers. All right, we are also going to add 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. We've already measured that out. And then you start to mix. So we've got our just a regular whisk. You can do this in your KitchenAid mixer. It's a little bit easier to do so in your KitchenAid mixer. I'm gonna start doing it, Ridge, and then I'm gonna have you take over, just so that we're making sure we're getting this butter nice and incorporated. So the goal here is to cream your butter and sugar together. That's kind of hard to do by hand, absolutely doable. It just takes a little bit more time and effort, but I've honestly found that it doesn't really change a whole lot of how these muffins turn out if you don't cream them super well together. All right, Rich, go ahead and stir. While he is stirring, I'm gonna start adding some eggs, and this is gonna help us cream this together a little bit better. Just keep stirring, buddy. It'll come off in a little bit when we start adding more ingredients. So we're gonna add 2 eggs right in. Good job, Rich. Keep stirring. It's also nice to have a spatula handy so that you can just sort of scrape down the edges. Nice job, man. Let me get this stuff out of here, and then I'm gonna have you keep stirring because you're doing an amazing job. Is it smelling so good? It smells like sugar and butter. Awesome.
I don't smell anything.
You don't smell anything? I can smell it from here, I'm sorry. All right, he's gonna continue to stir these together and I'm gonna start measuring out some of our other ingredients. We're gonna add in some baking powder and baking soda. So I'm gonna do my baking powder first, and we're actually going to do 1.5 teaspoons. Again, I'm gonna keep my little straight edge close so that I can just level off. There's my 1 teaspoon and my 1/2 teaspoon. Keep going, bud. Now we're going to measure out 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. There we go. We're moving on to our sort of flavoring section. Now, the recipe calls for nutmeg. I couldn't find nutmeg at the store of all of the things. So instead, we're gonna add a little bit of cinnamon. You could add nutmeg, allspice, or you could add something else. If you wanted to add a little bit of orange extract, those would all be delicious. We're going to add in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon or nutmeg or allspice, whatever you have at home. So I've got my teaspoon. I'm gonna fill it up, level it off, and add it in. Keep stirring, Mr. Ridge. You're doing great. Right now it's just kind of a soupy mess in there. So now we are going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Got my 1/2 teaspoon. The recipe actually calls for a little bit more than that. I think it calls for 3/4, but I found that tastes a little bit salty to our family because we're using salted butter, both here in the recipe and also in the topping. So it's a little too salty with the salted butter, well, to me. So I'm gonna only add in 1/2 teaspoon, but if you would like to add in 3/4 teaspoon, that's fine as well. And then we are on to our vanilla. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You are such an awesome stirrer, Ridge. There we go. Now it should start smelling delicious. And finally, we're gonna start adding flour. Now, for this recipe, it calls for 2 2/3 cups of flour. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna alternately add in flour and milk, starting and ending with flour. So we're gonna measure out our first cup of flour. Ridge, would you like to take a break and help me measure out flour? You can just stick that right into our bowl. We'll use it just in a minute here. So Ridge, remember, when we're measuring out flour, we're gonna take our scoop and our 1 cup measuring cup. We're gonna scoop out some flour and we're gonna shake it right into our 1 cup measuring cup, just like this. Do you remember how much we need to shake in? Is that enough? That's enough? I don't think so, not yet. What do we have to do? We have to get a big mountain of flour over the top. There we go, is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. We're gonna take our straight edge, we're going to level it off, and then we're gonna add that first cup into our recipe. So Rich, go ahead and stir.
Ooh, it's really eating.
We already have 1 cup of milk measured out, and again, we're gonna measure in our milk and our flour alternating. So we've got 1 cup of flour in, and we're gonna just add a little bit of milk. We're gonna add this in probably in 2 to 3 goes. So there's just a little bit of my milk. He's doing such an awesome job stirring, so I'm gonna measure out cup number 2 of flour. Nice, light, fluffy cups are gonna equal nice, light, fluffy muffins.
Can you take over?
You're getting tired? I can absolutely take over. I need you to add some milk in anyway. So, cup number 2 is in. Ridge is gonna add about 1/2 of what's in this cup. So go ahead and pour just about 1/2 of that. As close as you can get to 1/2. Doesn't have to be perfect, just not all of it. Go for it. You're being silly, huh? That's good. Nice job. Okay. All right, ready? We're gonna finish off. All right, we're gonna finish off with our 2/3 cups. Ridge, I need your help with this. I want you to do your scoops and your sprinkles right into the measuring cup. So we've got a 1/3 cup measuring cup, so we're gonna have to measure out 2 of these. Shake it right in there. Perfect. We're gonna take our straight edge and level it off. I'm gonna put that one in. Go ahead and put the rest of our milk in.
Super caca.
Woohoo! Nice, good job. And then we're gonna end with flour, just like the recipe said. So I'm gonna stir this in until it's pretty well incorporated.
I'll take over now.
You're gonna take over now? You're ready to go? Okay. We measure out our last 1/3. Flipping, sprinkling, sweeping all the time. That's gonna go in. And now is when we're gonna want to start using our spatula again. So I'm gonna bring this right over here, Ridge, and I want you to just take a little break. We're gonna scrape down the edges of our bowl. So we want all of that flour in there. That's gonna make really delicious muffins, so we need it. All right, I'm gonna set this off to the side again. we're gonna start stirring it up. This is gonna be kind of thick, and that's okay. It's exactly what it should look like. And it is all right if it's a little bit lumpy. You do not wanna mix it so thoroughly that it has no lumps, because then your muffins are just gonna turn out really dense. Next, we are going to put these in our prepared muffin cups. I'm just gonna take one more spin around with this so we make sure everything's incorporated, everything on the bottom of our bowl is incorporated. And then we're gonna take our scoop, my favorite scoop. If you don't have one of these, they are amazing. They're super useful for pretty much everything. Cookies, muffins, even doing things like mini brownie bites. We're gonna take one big heaping scoop and place it in each one of these. You're gonna wanna fill your muffin cups almost all the way full, because the goal is to have a muffin that is really well crowned. So you want this top to be really nice and high. Once our oven preheats, we're gonna toss these in. They're not gonna be in for very long, just a couple minutes. We don't want them to get too brown on the top. So we'll see you in a few minutes to show you what they look like when they're done and how to top them. All right, we are back. Our muffins baked for about 15 minutes. They are just barely lightly golden brown on top, and when you insert a toothpick, it comes out clean. So now for Ridge's favorite part to help out with, the topping. So what you're gonna do at home is get 3 tablespoons of melted butter and 3 tablespoons of cinnamon sugar. I have King Arthur Flour Cinnamon Sugar Plus right here. You don't have to use this, you can make your own, but this is a really awesome cinnamon sugar because it coats the top really, really finely and beautifully. So Ridge, we're gonna dunk in there just like that. Kind of let it drip dry. And then we're gonna roll these right around in the cinnamon sugar, and you get a cinnamon sugar coated donut muffin. Which one do you want to eat? The biggest one? I think it might be that one. Yeah, okay. All right, dunk it in the butter. Let it drip. And then roll it right around in the cinnamon and sugar. These keep best stored in an airtight container. That's perfect, Ridge, you're all done. That looks beautiful. You can keep them in the freezer if you plan to eat them over the course of a couple of days. Otherwise, if they're not gonna last very long in your house, just like they're not gonna last very long here, you can keep them just on your countertop in a plastic bag or in a Tupperware. Thank you so much for baking with kids. We've enjoyed having you guys in our house again, and we'll see you soon. Bye.